lot of us, men and women, fail to recognize what real love really means and what it's meant to feel like, because unfortunately, a lot of us have not had best examples. We haven't felt that as children, and so we grow up and we have no idea. We don't have a curriculum. We don't have a book, a guide to help us. And so we struggle. We make our own mistakes and we go through some divorces, some horrible breakups, some loss of money, some dark times in order to understand what real love really looks like. And that is really why we're here, to find out what love is. And if you really kind of analyze our lives, the hardest lessons in our lives come out of relationships. We learn about ourselves through relationships, regardless of if it's it's a love relationship or even if it's at work, business, whatever it is. But that's how we tend to learn. But I mean, the hardest ones are where you are in a romantic relationship, because that person gets to really get to know you. They get to know your good parts and your bad parts. So this is what I want you to keep in mind. If somebody, and by the way, this could be you or the person that you're with, but since it's you and me talking, I'm just talking about the other person for now. So if somebody is in love with how you make them feel, their biggest fear, listen up, is losing you. Now, if somebody is truly in love with you, their biggest fear is, listen up, hurting you. When you're upset, they're upset. When somebody is they're in love with how you make them feel, they are looking for you to provide them with a feeling of validation, safety, so on and so forth. So I just want you to reflect on your past relationships or even the relationship you're in right now and ask yourself, and by the way, this could be you, okay? And it's okay if it is you. Don't get embarrassed or don't feel guilty about it. That is actually, this is where your awareness needs to kick in. And this is where real change tends to happen. When you can sit with yourself and be like, oh shit, this is me. That's beautiful. I want you to recognize that this is why I'm making these videos. So let's just say it's the other person that needs you to make them feel chosen, validated, calm. And so what they're asking of you is for you to remain the same. And as soon as you kind of pull away, or if there's a type of conflict that is happening there with you, then they start panicking. Because they're like, wait, I don't want you to go, because if you go, then I don't feel safe anymore and I don't feel loved anymore. And I can't deal with this right now. So you have to stay the same. You can't change. And so recognizing this pattern in your relationships is so, so critical. Not even important. It's critical that you recognize it. But for example, let's say you're with somebody who truly loves you for you. And so what happens then is that if you come to them and you say, listen, babe, I don't feel safe in the relationship. There's X, Y, and Z that is happening. It's making me not feel safe or respected or whatever. That person is like, wait, what? I truly care for you and I want to make you feel safe. What can I do for you to make sure you feel safe? Okay. So that's when you really know that that person cares for you. When somebody cares for you, that means they truly love you. If you need space in the moment, they respect it. They respect your wishes. They don't tend to deflect. They don't tend to get angry at you for sharing how you feel, for sharing something that is coming up for you, for sharing something that is deep and dark within, that maybe something happened in your childhood. And they're not using your weaknesses as a jab to get back to you the next week. Because if somebody is doing that, that means they are hyper vigilant and focused on all of the bad things that you're saying about yourself. You really got to be careful with people that use your weaknesses and your vulnerabilities against you. that is the person that you want to run far away from. And I know at first it might seem like, yeah, but they're just trying to make a point, and it's just like they really love me, like they bought me this bag, and it's like I have this house, and like I'm looking after the kids. I don't, like, where am I gonna go? You have all this mumbo jumbo garbage in your head. You literally gotta release yourself from this prison that you're living. And I mean, again, this is for people that are in relationships, and I talk to a lot of women that are in relationships like this, and men, by the way. A lot of men, you think that men walk away. No, men actually will stay there extra longer than a woman would. And so men, I feel like, suffer more than women. Men take more than women take. And so, I feel like that's one of the reasons why the rates of suicide is so much higher for men, because they don't express themselves. They don't have people around them where they can share their deepest, darkest truths, right? And I just feel even worse for men, especially if they're in relationships where they feel like they're walking on eggshells all the time and they just don't feel safe to be themselves. So in short, when somebody is in love with the feeling that you give them, that means that safety is about what you can give me. When somebody is truly in love with you, that means that safety goes both ways. They care about how you feel, not just about themselves. So I just want us to open up our eyes a little bit, awaken a little bit, and really look at the person you're with. So if you're in a relationship like this, where there's a pattern of maybe where you're crying twice a week, but then the rest of the 5 days are fine, I want you to look deep into that. And I want you to ask yourself, because that is not normal. It is not normal to cry twice a week for the same reason, most probably, if you're in a relationship where it's a little bit unhealthy, or, you're not being respected, or whatever is happening there. Maybe get a journal out and make a note. Hey, Jan 6th, XYZ happened. We had an argument about whatever. Then you have, we had another argument Jan 10th, and then then you see a pattern of what's happening, because sometimes when you're in it, it's like a fog. You're in a cloud. You can't see yourself. You're so blinded that you can't recognize yourself anymore, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse until you hit rock bottom. So I really don't want that for you. I really want you to wake up, and I really want you to live your best life, because this life is meant to be abundant. It's meant to be exciting. It's meant to be adventurous. It's meant to be beautiful. It's meant to be peaceful. It's meant to be loving. And I really want you to feel that, because you deserve it. You're worthy of it. And I just want you to remember that, okay? I also want you to remember, if you're tired of choosing people in situations that are costing you your self-respect, and you're ready to experience love where you do not need to shrink in order to be chosen, then apply for a private clarity session. The link is going to be in the description below or in my bio. I wish you guys all the love, success, happiness, joy, peace, and I'll see you guys in my next one.